to call to order the September 20th, 2021 meeting of the Hammond Plan Commission. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recording in progress.
Excellent. Next item on the agenda, item number 2, is the roll call. Mrs. Morris-Smith, may we have a call for the roll?
Roger Brott.
Here.
Dean Button.
Here.
Michael Dye.
Here.
Ann Herbert.
Here.
William Hutton.
Here.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Here.
Nance Vitale.
Here.
Sharon Zane.
Here.
Marcus Taylor.
Here.
9 present. We have a quorum.
Mr. President,
Mr. Poland.
yes, just to officially welcome Mr. Dye, who is taking over for Alex Diedlow.
I think everybody knows me.
Welcome back to the Plan Commission,
Thank you.
Mr. Dye.
Third round.
Welcome to all of our commissioners who have returned to, thank you, who have returned to the Plan Commission, and those that are on Zoom, we welcome you as well. Next item on the agenda, you should have received in your packet minutes of previous meetings for your consideration. So I would ask for a motion on approval of the minutes of June 21st, 2021.
Mr. President, quick question. Do we have to, in our minutes, should it include who is present via Zoom versus in person? I'm just wondering if, just for future notes, if it should.
In the future, they will be.
Okay.
Yeah, but in the June meeting, it was all Zoom, so.
Okay.
But when we do have the mixed, we
Okay.
will now do
Okay.
indications.
Okay, thank you.
So for those on online, the discussion was held about reporting those members that were present either via Zoom or in person, and those will be reflected in future minutes. So I do believe that, well, I guess I missed that. I'm going to give Councilman Spitali the move for approval of the minutes, and Commissioner Herbert for the second of those minutes. I hope I got that right. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Any discussion on the minutes? Any discussion? Roll call on the approval of the minutes for June 21st, 2021.
Roger Brott.
Yes.
Michael Dye.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Mrs. Herbert? Roll call on the motion. Mrs. Herbert?
Oh, yes, I can barely hear.
Okay, I'll do better. So we're having a roll call on the motion for approval of the minutes of June 21st. You're up. Are you in agreement?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Thomas
Can you hear me?
Kazmierzak.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Nance Vitale.
Yes.
Sharon Zane.
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. Motion passed.
Thank you. Mrs. Morris-Smith, is there any way perhaps to move the microphone closer to you? Because I think those online are maybe having trouble hearing you. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a consideration of the approval of the minutes for July 19th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. President, those minutes are not in the packet, so we're asking those to be tabled.
Known. So we will not seek a motion for those minutes for approval. Next item on the agenda is...
Mr. President, you need a motion to table.
Thank you. Is there a motion to table the minutes?
Mike Dye, I'd like to make a motion to table the minutes for July 19th, 2021.
I second that motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Dye, seconded by Commissioner Hutton to table the minutes. Approval of the minutes does a roll call be needed in this case, Mr. Westland?
Because you have people on Zoom.
Okay. Roll call on the motion, please.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Michael Dye.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Dan Spitali.
Yes.
Sharon Zaney.
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 4, old business. Is there any old business?
There is no old business.
Thank you. Item 5 is new business. New business CP 21-12, a petition of Shamrock Storage Hammond LLC and Mohammed Schauman for approval of a 2-lot re-subdivision of 167th Street and Southeastern Avenue addition to the city of Hammond located at 6625 and 6641 Columbia Avenue, which is zoned C4 within the city of Hammond, Lake County, Indiana.
Mr. President.
Mr. Poland.
Due to the failure of the petitioner to properly do the notifications, we are asking that this petition be tabled to the next meeting.
Is there a motion to table?
I'd like to make a motion to table CP 21-12.
Commissioner Dye motions to table. Is there a
Second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hutton. Second by Mr. Hutton. Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Michael Dye.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Dan Spitali.
Yes.
Sharon Zaney.
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Next item on the agenda is CP 21-13, a petition of Encore CW LLC for approval of a development plan in a C4 general commercial district located at 7855 Cabela Drive within the city of Hammond, Lake County, Indiana. Have the notification requirements been met? Mrs. Moore-Smith.
Yes, they have.
Thank you very much. Would the petitioner please come forward and present their petition to the Plan Commission? State your name, address, and affiliation.
Good evening, Mr. President, Commissioners. My name is Chris Kane, K-A-N-E. Address is 12137 West 159th Street, Suite 102 in Homer Glen, Illinois 60491.
Thank you.
Sure.
Please go ahead.
So we are proposing a express car wash facility located just off of Cabela Drive. We've been working with staff over the past few months on pulling together an approval package, which I believe everybody has a copy of in regard to site plan, building elevations, and sign package was turned in as well. I'm happy to answer any questions in regard to the development.
Mr. Kane, can you just give us, elaborate a little bit on what the specifics of the petition?
Sure. So the building itself is just about 6,300 square feet. So customers would come into the parking lot and drive up to a pay station. There are 3 pay stations at the facility and a lane per pay station to get up there. So it provides a queuing stack of 15 cars per pay station. A total of 45 cars can queue without having any spillage over in the adjacent lots or back up onto Cabela Drive. From there, you pay either membership where it's touchless, a license plate reader, or you can select what you'd like on the touchscreen, pay with a credit card, and then you enter the facility, you stay in your vehicle, and a pulley system pulls your car through as it's washed. As you exit the tunnel, you have the option to pull into parking spaces that are vacuum stalls, canopy-covered vacuum stalls, where you can vacuum the car yourself, clean it out, and move on from there. That's completely optional. It's free with every wash. After vacuuming, customers can leave the facility either back onto Cabela Drive or through cross-access agreement with the adjacent properties.
You know about how many employees you're...
So there'll be 2 full-time staff members and 10 to 12 part-time employees.
Great, thank you. Any questions from the commissioners to the petitioner? Mr. Kazmier's,
My question was based on the picture. on the blueprints. I wasn't actually able to tell which lot this is going on. I just wanted to clarify where exactly this was going to be.
Okay, the property that we're talking about is south of the Cabela store between Cabela Drive and the ramp for for Indianapolis Boulevard. And we recently approved a 4-lot subdivision, and going from the south end, it's a second lot.
Okay, yeah, I know where you're talking.
Mr. Dye? Commissioner Dye?
This is more of a question for our city engineer, maybe he can answer it. In this drawing here showing where the,
Mike?
yes,
Microphone.
oh, okay. The drawing showing where the boot tie to the storm drain system, is that going into the city sewer? Because I know that, Dean, if I'm wrong, correct me, but I didn't think our city gutters could tie into the city, or gutters could tie into the city
Did you
storm
refer to the
drain
drawing you're
system.
speaking to, Mr. Dye?
It's
Thank you, Mr. Hutton. 1.42. No, there's a storm sewer system that is within the Cabela's sewerage system that ties to the retention basin that is part of the original Cabela's development.
okay, thank you.
For storm sewer, yeah. Thank you for your question. Any other questions for the petitioner, Mr. Kane?
I do.
Mr. Hutton?
Thank you. Looking at 45 cars in a queue, once I get in that queue, I can't get out. Is that right?
Well, if you're in line, there is an emergency exit out of, once you get through the pay station itself.
There is?
Yeah, if you look on
I see it.
C2.
I got it. I see it, yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Commissioners, any more questions for the petitioner? Okay. Thank you. At this point, we're going to have a public hearing. And so we will open it up to the audience. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of this petition, if there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to this petition, or if there's anyone in the audience wishing to make a comment to this petition. Being none, I will close the public hearing. I assume the petitioner has nothing further to add at this time?
I do not.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So I would move, Mr. Hudson?
I do. I want to ask that question again.
Sorry, Mr. Kane.
I want to go back to that queuing thing.
Sure.
So once I get in one of these 3 lines,
Yes,
I have to wait all the way to the end to get an emergency exit to get out of there.
Correct.
Is
Correct.
that right? There's no other way for me to,
there's not.
okay.
There's not. It channels everybody to the pay queue. The idea is that to prevent any backup onto Cabela Drive or onto adjacent neighbors. In the rare event that there are 45 cars, yeah, you'd have to wait through the line.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Thank you. We'll move on to the staff report. Mr. Poland?
Yes, I'm going to speak to various points within the staff report. The couple of the kind of the detailed site plan issues that I want to bring out is we want to make sure that the vacuums at the accessible spaces do meet the accessibility requirements for the ADA AG or the applicable codes, just so they meet those requirements. The property is going to be elevated 6 feet, but it is located in Zone X, which is technically out of the floodplain. But the contours do show that it's supposed to be the slope in my staff report crosses out of the north property line onto the adjacent parcel. So it brings up a concern that that there's going to be improvements on another person's property. The development to the north has not been proposed to us, so that ability to have the downward slope onto the adjacent property, there needs to be documentation that the owner of that property is able to, or authorizes this petitioner to make that, add that grading to it. There is a concern that on the site plan that there is a retaining wall of 3.5 feet in height that is located in a utility easement, and again, for permitting purposes, we have to have documentation that the utilities are not going to object to that detention or retaining wall in the fill associated with it. We want to make sure that they are not going to object to that being in their easement. As far as the sign package is concerned, staff has identified a couple of signs that are of concern. In the documentation, there is a proposed sign that would be located on the south slope of the roof line. Under Title Section 21.10, prohibited signs, we prohibit signs on the roofs, and that the current elevations do show that that roof on the south slope was removed, and we want to make sure that that is going to be the case. However, the pay station canopy still is showing that sign, which would be a roof on a structure, so staff is opposed to that sign. The development also is showing an elevated water tank. The water tank is higher than I'm sorry, I'm trying to find that. Okay. The height of the water tank is at 40 feet. It still meets the requirements of the height limitation of the zoning district, and Title Section 18.50 provides that there's an exception to water tanks as being exempt from the height regulations. However, in the sign package, there is showing that there will be a sign on that water tank, and that would face Indianapolis Boulevard. While the tank itself is exempt from the height restrictions, the fact that a sign is now being placed on that tank in essence converts the tank into a sign structure. And there's a development agreement that restricts the height of signs in the Cabela's development area that only allows 2 signs to go above the 20-foot limit. Those 2 signs already exist. So, and then because of the development agreement language, that would supersede the authority of the Plan Commission or the Board of Zoning Appeals to approve signs that are above the 20-foot limit. The only way to get around that would be to go back and have the development agreement amended, and that would take through the Redevelopment Commission and then the City Council. So,
It would be quite the process.
yeah, that's right, and the Economic Development Commission, so a three-step process to amend the agreement. So from that standpoint, that we would ask that that sign be removed from the plans. Also to point out the exiting of the building, there is a center median between the northbound, southbound lanes, or inbound to Cabela's, outbound out of Cabela's, that the developer has resolved with the city engineer about the construction of a crossing in that center median, and that would allow the traffic exiting the car wash to make a left turn and proceed accordingly. Under the Plan Commission's responsibility to approve development plans in certain districts, and this being one of them, I refer to the 15 items that are referenced in the staff report, and just one more quick thing is that under number 14, there is a private agreement that addresses the internal cross-access and maintenance of the access drives. But there is a cross-access easement that's reflected on the plat that we discussed a couple of months ago. So as far as the staff recommendations are concerned, overall, the development plan is being designed to be compatible in design and architectural character, which results in an overall harmonious, efficient, and convenient retail area. And the Redevelopment Commission did determine that the project is in compliance with the Economic Development Area Plan. So the Plan Commission is to make findings of fact in accordance with Title Section 2705. Staff's recommendation for those findings of fact is: 1, the development plan complies with the applicable standards of the underlying district in which the lot is located, subject to the BZA granting the conditional use for the car wash itself. 2, the re-subdivision is recorded and the lot which basically created the subject lot. 3, the proposed development is compatible with the architecture and character of the area and is therefore appropriate. And 4, the proposed development occurs on appropriately zoned property as contemplated in the comprehensive plan. Staff does recommend that the Plan Commission grant final approval subject to: 1, the finalization of the technical requirements and corrections. I'm going to slightly modify number 2, that the signage is changed to reflect for the signage to be in compliant with the concerns expressed in the preceding staff report document, and that secondly that we would get the photometrics to make sure that they're compliant. And then 3, approval of the conditional use by the BZA. Then if the Plan Commission agrees that this report as amended should be adopted as the preliminary findings of fact.
Questions for Mr. Poland from the commissioners?
I guess my question, in regards to the sign, I've seen a lot of car washes. I've been to a lot of car washes, and I can't recall seeing water towers at them. So do we know, was the water tower put in specifically to try and circumvent the 20-foot limit signage? Or was it like, or is there a specific functionality to it?
I don't think it was intended to be circumventing anything, and Mr. Kane can address this better than I can, but I assume it's a part of your design motif for your car wash, that it's just a particular
That's correct. It's part of the architectural element of the project. It has nothing to do with the sign ordinance. I didn't even know that existed, to be honest with you, with the 20-foot internal 2 signs existing and making that, not possible.
Okay, that was my question.
Wait a minute, I want to ask, so,
Mr. Hutton.
I'm sorry, thank you. So does this thing hold water or not?
It does
hold
not,
water?
no.
Oh, it's
It
empty?
does not, correct.
So
It's an architectural element. It's not a water tank.
Huh.
And it's the 40-foot building height, it's kept under that. That's why it didn't exceed that height restriction.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Kane, since you're at the podium, you do understand everything I've said about our concerns about the signs?
Correct, and we did meet on that, and the reason that I think you mentioned, and I'm not sure if it's on the plans, the scale of the main building sign was not correct on those elevations, so I had gotten you the updated one that reflected that and included that in the sign package.
Yes, I know that, but what I'm trying to make sure you understand is that my position remains the same, opposing it. And based on the conversations with my counterparts here, we've talked about the possibility of going to the BZA on that question, and there's no staff support in order to get a variance for that. So,
Okay.
So at this stage, we have to say no sign on the roof, no sign on the pay station, and no sign on the water tank.
Okay?
So if you want to revisit your sign package and, well,
Yeah,
right, change
it's not a
some,
lot. I
some,
think
change
it's E.
something, yeah, I mean, if you
Yeah.
want to change something else, hopefully that will be compliant. We'll certainly work with you to come up, to make that work.
Okay.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay. So I would, at this stage, anything further, Mr. Poland?
No.
Okay, at this stage, I would, looks like we got a few motions with regard to this particular petition. So I would entertain a motion from the commissioners to make a finding of fact as follows. The development plan complies with the applicable standards of the underlying district in which the lot is being located to the BZA granting the conditional use for the car wash. 2, the re-subdivision is records the created subject lot. 3, the proposed development is compatible with the architecture and character of the existing area and therefore appropriate. And 4, the proposed development occurs on appropriately zoned property as contemplated in the 1992 comprehensive plan. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, just on number 2, there's the word "and" is missing between the word recorded and created.
That was not clear. Thank you. Motion as corrected. Is there anyone willing to make that motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the written findings of fact as corrected.
Thank you, Commissioner Dye. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Zaney. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Mrs. Morris-Smith, a roll call on the motion, please.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Michael Dye.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Dan Spitali.
Yes.
Sharon Zaney. Yes. Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. The next motion would be entertaining that the Plan Commission grant final approval of the development plan, subject to the finalization of the technical requirements and corrections, staff determination of whether the signage is in compliance with the staff report, and a photometric is provided, and that lighting is compliant, and 3, approval of the conditional use by the BCA. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the final approval based on the criteria that's listed.
You, Commissioner Dye, is there a second?
A second.
Second by Commissioner Taylor. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Michael Dye.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Dan Spitali.
Yes.
Sharon Zaney.
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
And finally, would entertain a motion that the Plan Commission agrees that the staff report be adopted as a preliminary finding of fact,
Staff report as amended.
as amended. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. Okay. Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Herbert, seconded by Commissioner Dye. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Michael Dye.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Dan Spitali.
Yes.
Sharon Zaney.
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Next petition. New business CP 21-14, a petition of the Calumet College of St. Joseph, Inc., to reclassify property, by the way, thank you for attending, reclassify property at 2450 New York Avenue from C4 General Commercial District to S2 Institutional District to construct, operate, and maintain a dormitory living, recreational field, and future mixed-use development located within the city of Hammond, Lake County, Indiana.
Mr. President,
Mr. Poland.
due to the fact that, as we discovered this morning, that the petitioner failed to do the notifications, we ask that this petition is tabled.
Is there a motion to table the petition?
I'd like to make a motion to table the petition CP 21-14.
I second that.
Thank you. Motion to table by Commissioner Dye, seconded by Commissioner Hutton. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion to table.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Michael Dye.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Dan Spitali.
Yes.
Sharon Zaney. Yes. Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Mr. President,
Mr. Poland.
based on my discussions with the representatives of Calumet College, they are concerned about the timing of the project. This unfortunate circumstance would delay the approval of the rezoning by the council well into November, and that will affect the ability of the issuance of permits. So the discussion was, is there a possibility of rescheduling the October meeting earlier in order to help facilitate that time frame? Because of Columbus Day, that takes away the second Monday, which would normally be a council meeting anyway. And the council has changed to the 12th because of the Columbus Day. The only option would be the first Monday of October. The difficulty of that is because of the 10-day notifications, the petitioner would literally have to get everything to the newspaper tomorrow. And then, depending upon if the letters to the adjacent property owners are mailed from their business location in Ohio, they would have to be postmarked tomorrow, or if they are mailed out of Lake County, they can be postmarked on Friday. So in my conversation with the representative, I said I would pose the question to the Plan Commission members whether or not they would consider moving the October meeting to the 4th. That also, we would make the offer to the first petition that we also tabled to see if they would be able to meet the very strict timing deadlines in order to get their notifications. So is there any opinion or consensus on positive or negative on changing that meeting date?
Mr. Hutton.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions. Early on in your dissertation, you said that there was some concern about the weather or trying to get this project underway this season. Did I misunderstand that?
They want to get permits as quickly as possible so that they can start construction in order to have their dormitory ready for the 22-23 school year, and that the rezoning would not be able to become effective until mid-November or whatever, depending upon the, the dates of the council meeting because of Veterans Day and Thanksgiving and all that. But that is their concern, that they want to get their permits as quickly as possible in order to start construction. So that's what.
When I look at this plan, it says future campus expansion, which is the dormitories. That's priority now, is that right?
Well, okay, so there's the plan, the master plan of what they're going to do, and they're talking about 4 dormitory structures, a playing field, and an unspecified future building along New York Avenue that is currently described as a mixed-use building. Their phase 1 or first step is 1 dormitory building.
I got it.
Can we stick to the point at hand?
I got
And that
it.
is, we're trying to determine if commissioners can make this meeting date.
I was just asking the question because if they're talking about building a building, that's one thing. If they're talking about building a football field or a soccer field, that's another thing.
Understood.
So you've answered my question, and thank you.
Thank you. Any objections to having an October 4th meeting of the Plan Commission? I'm seeing no objection, Mr. Poland.
Okay, and that's fine. I will let them know as early as possible tomorrow, but I do want to say that it is extremely tight for them to be able to still meet the notification requirements, and that is a possibility of a failure. At this point, I am not aware, other than these 2 cases, I'm not aware of something else being scheduled for October. So, because if I was starting with a new project, that would be impossible to do in 2 weeks. If that's the consensus, I will advise them that they have this chance, but I don't mean to belabor the point, but I think it's a very tough challenge for them to meet the notification requirements.
So you'll keep us posted whether or not our availability is needed, and that decision probably needs to be made on or about this Friday. We'll know for sure.
Because they'll either be able to get it in the paper or not.
Okay. So by September 24th, we need to know positively whether or not we're on schedule for. So shall we just say September 27th? That way, we're not waiting till the end of the day and trying to make sure that people know. September 27th would be the Monday.
We will let you know on or before September 27th whether it's go. It is a go.
Anything further under new business?
No more new business.
Thank you. Item number 6, correspondence.
No correspondence.
Item number 7, commissioner comments.
No.
Next item on the agenda is item number 8, staff comments.
No more staff comments.
Item number 9, public comment. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak to the Plan Commission? Being none, we know approximately the possibility of our next Plan Commission meeting that may happen on October 4th. Otherwise, otherwise there could still be a Plan Commission meeting as it is normally scheduled in October if one is not held on October.
Right, because exactly, you have to keep both dates open, because if we can't meet moving both the petitions, we will still have the meeting in October with both of those petitions. The thing that I want to avoid a situation where one goes on the 4th and the second one goes on the 18th. I want to keep them both on the same meeting, so that's another factor that plays into this.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Is there any more business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Hutton. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Zaney. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned.